Anyone let me know? Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Thanks, Gareth. Thanks, V. Okay, so I'm going to I'm going to make a start if that's okay. Just conscious we might be short of time. We've got a fair amount of you, so that's great to see tonight. So for those of you that don't know me, and for those of you that have never joined the open house surgery, first of all, thank you. We hope you find it valuable. My name is Rajshri. I'm the Chief Officer for Community Pharmacy Leicestershire and Rutland. With me, I've got a couple of my team members, so and I'll introduce them as we go out throughout the presentation as well, because you'll become more familiar with them, but I think it's just worth highlighting a couple of our guests as well. So Gareth, can I just ask you to introduce yourself, if that's okay? You can just unmute.
Yes, thank you, Rashri. So I'm Gareth McCaig. I'm a pharmacist. I'm the Service Support Officer for the LPC, or Community Pharmacy Leicestershire and Rutland in New Money. And I'm the guy that's mentioned in that email that Rashri's been sending out. I'm able to pop around on Fridays to support contractors, get the head around this pharmacy first business. And please don't hesitate to get in touch.
Thank you, Gareth. That's really helpful. Also with me, I've got Kate. So Kate, I don't know if you want to say hello and just uncamera yourself, just so people can put a name to the face.
Hiya, you're right. I'm Kate. I'm admin for Community Pharmacy Leicestershire and Rutland. So I send you lots of emails.
Yeah, so Kate's really our engine behind the LPC and Community Pharmacy Leicestershire and Rutland. So yes, thanks, Kate. Sorry to put you on the spot as well. With us tonight, we've got Paul. Paul, can you just unmute yourself, say hello and introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for the invite today. So I am the Community Pharmacy Clinical Lead for the ICB and LLR.
Brilliant. Thanks, Paul. And Paul will be supporting some of our conversations tonight, including around Pharmacy First as well. And then also, I'm really pleased to say that we've got Z with us. Zena, do you want to just introduce yourself? I know we're not talking about it specifically tonight because we talked about some of the foundation pharmacies, but if you just want to introduce yourself, because we will kind of touch on it tonight as well.
Sure. Thank you again for the invite. Hi, everyone. I'm Zeenat. So some of you may have seen me at last month's open house surgery, but I work for NHS England in the Workforce Training and Education Department. And at the moment, I'm here about foundation pharmacy training. So my role specifically covers Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland. So I'm basically your go-to training program facilitator. And there's a lot happening in the foundation space at the moment. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch and we can hopefully help support you putting your programs onto Oriel for the 25-26 program.
Brilliant. Thanks, Zena. That's really helpful. So just a whistle-stop tour of who's on. Apologies if I've missed anyone off, including some of our committee members. But I think we'll leave it there. And obviously, if any committee members want to say hello, let me know. I haven't gone through the full attendance yet, so apologies. I'm going to go straight into it, if that's okay. So a couple of things I just always start off by saying, particularly for those of you who haven't attended the open house surgery, is that we have a number of platforms in terms of communication platforms for our contractors and contractor teams as well. So we are on social media, we're on Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. So if you can like us, share us, want to know a little bit more about what's going on, that's sometimes different outside of the email that myself and Kate send out to you. Please do, like us and share us and all of that good stuff. We're also on WhatsApp as well. So I'm sure a lot of you are already on our WhatsApp group, but if you're not, please do get in touch. There's my email address and my telephone number. You'll be able to just send me a message if possible, and we can get you set up and added on to that WhatsApp group. And that's really for contractors. I know there are some pharmacists on there. There is also some, I know, locum pharmacist WhatsApp groups, but this one's specifically for LPC contractors and their pharmacy teams as well. So just to be aware of. So in terms of what we're going to talk about tonight, so I've got you for about an hour, closing at 9 o'clock. A couple of things, just going to give you a quick update for CPLR, including some ICB updates that are pertinent to the month as well. Please do always, if you've not been on the open house surgery, all our open house surgeries are recorded as well, and they're also posted on our website. So if you want to go back and look at previous open house surgeries, feel free to do that as well. And if you're not talking, if you can just pop yourself on mute, that would be great. Could you put yourself on mute if you're not talking? Thank you. Lovely. So that's the first thing on the agenda, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the initial education and training for pharmacists, which Zenat's here to support us on in terms of the reformation that's happening with the oral deadline creeping up on us for the 1st of March. And then we're going to move on to Pharmacy First. We've obviously got Gareth and Paul and myself to support, but it'd be really interesting to hear from you, our contractors. How are you finding it? How are you getting on in the first couple of weeks? We're really interested. We're trying to keep our ear to the ground as well. So we're hearing lots of good stuff, but love to hear it from your own stories as well. So don't be afraid. I'm going to work through the presentation. If you want to use the chat function, please feel free to add any questions as we're talking. At the end of each presentation, we'll also give you the opportunity to ask questions. If you want to raise your hand or go through, we'll also go through the chat as well, make sure all those questions are being answered. So feel free to use the chat function throughout tonight. Okay, so that's all the housekeeping really. In terms of the updates, couple of things. We've made a significant amount of changes to our website. Particularly, Kate's been working incredibly hard on the website behind the scenes, and there's been a lot of content that's been added to the website. I'm not going to go through every single page that we've added or new content, because it would just be a whole meeting in itself, to be fair. But I just thought it'd be worth just highlighting a couple of things. So the first one is the CPLR initiatives stroke pilots that are happening within our region, within LLR. I'm not going to go through each single one again, but there are some really exciting stuff. And if you haven't, or if you're not aware of what's happening, two things that I really want to highlight tonight is the first one is about shared care records. So we actually had an onboarding shared care record event for some of our contractors that have signed up for or expressed interest to sign up for this pilot. The pilot involves community pharmacies having access to shared care record platform, which is different to your summary care records. So these are the records that your GP and other health professionals would have access to. So it allows us to have sight of patient allergies, immunisations, medication as well, and the indications for the medications as well. So very, very different from summary care records. If it's something that, there's a lot of information, and I'll put the links in the chat once I've handed over. But if it's something that you are interested in, it's not too late. We've got another onboarding event next week. So if it's something of interest and you weren't aware of it happening, and you think, well, actually, I'd like to be involved and my pharmacy would like to be involved, please do get in touch, again, using my email address or using the link that I'll put in the chat to sign up. But that's a really exciting one, and we've got 31 pharmacies going live with this in the next couple of weeks. And actually, in terms of shared care records, it is very new, it's innovative, and we are one of the first systems, one of the first regions nationally to go live. I think we're the second one, to be fair. So really pioneering in this department, and also it's something that we've been working on for nearly enough 2 years to get us to this point. So very exciting and very proud of that piece of work. And then the final thing, the final initiative that I'm going to walk you through is just quickly around is the collaborative working with Pfizer. So we've been working with Pfizer again for about a year to work on an online booking platform as well. So that's happening as we speak. We're just about to launch in the next month or so. Unfortunately, that expression of interest is now closed. Well, Paul and I received another portfolio of contractors that were interested. We've dwindled them down, and that will be going live. But watch this space, and I'll continue to update you on that pilot. Again, a very exciting one that will allow both contractors and also GP practices to book in appointments for services, including things like Pharmacy First and contraception, etc. as well. So that's happening in the region. So have a look at that page, and again, I'll put that in the chat shortly. The other thing that I wanted to update you is about the Valparate update. So I did send this as an email. It's been in the newsletter as well, if you've seen that. And again, if you've not subscribed to our newsletter, feel free. I feel like I'm doing a lot of selling here about how comms, and it's not meant to be, but I know that there's a few of you that haven't come on before. But the Valparate update was sent to you. It's the latest guidance around dispensing Valparate containing products or medicines as well. And there's also the regulations for 2023, which are now mandated for dispensing a full pack of all licensed medicines containing valparate as well. So there's guidance on that on CPE website, but also on our own website as well. So again, myself or Kate will pop that in the chat shortly, but just something that you should really be aware of and make sure that your teams are aware of as well. The final thing that I really wanted to mention on this kind of update was just around PQS, because I feel that Pharmacy First has overshadowed everything else, and I'm sure it's overshadowing everything that you're doing at the moment as well. So PQS, the Pharmacy Quality Scheme, is now opened on the 5th of February, and it closes on the 1st of March, and it coincides with the deadline for Oriel as well. So those two are really important deadlines, and it will also, that deadline, or will be highlighted in our deadline tracker again, which is sent out to our contractors on a monthly basis and also available on our website as well. If you are getting stuck on any of the domains or need a bit of help with PQS and getting you over the hurdle, please do get in touch with myself or the team. I'll put our contact details at the end, but the wealth of information, also the links we'll put in the chat, including on the BSA website as well, in terms of the different domains and what the requirements are to complete that, but just something that you should all be made aware of as well and reiterate. I don't know if, again, this month, myself and Paul presented at something called the LLR Teaching Forum. Now, this is a pharmacy-wide platform, so it's not just for community pharmacy, it's for hospital pharmacy, so UHL, LPT, ICB colleagues as well to jump on. It's also for community pharmacists like yourselves who can come up to the platform and listen to what's happening in each of those sectors. So this month, myself and Paul presented to the group around Pharmacy First and what it means and how it will look like, and answered the questions around what's happening to CPCS, what do I need to do, what do I need to know, and it happens fortnightly and it alternates between Tuesdays and Thursdays, and the topic is different and it could be from any sector. So if you want to have a good handle of what understanding of what's happening within the region across pharmacy, not necessarily community pharmacy, feel free to join that forum as well. The QR code is there. It's also on our website. And if you can't get it or don't know where to look, we'll please again just get in touch. But that happens every fortnight, sorry. So that's all of my updates, and I'm sorry, I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking and I don't necessarily mean to. I will hand over shortly, but I just, again, these just talked about, throughout her introduction, mentioned around the Oriel submission deadline on the 1st of March for foundation pharmacists. Now, I'm hoping that you're all aware of this. We also, in our last month's open house surgery, ZNAT did a very comprehensive presentation to our contractors, which is recorded and available to download or watch on our website. But I invited Z tonight, not to necessarily go through the entire presentation, but really more to hear from you, our contractors, if there are any specific questions around this. Are you aware of the deadline? Do you need any support around Oriel submission? Do you have any questions? Because we've got the expert in the room. So if there is, please feel free to put your hand up and ask, or, if you're a bit shy, then just add it into the chat. But this is a great opportunity to have Z in the room and ask her any questions that you might have on particularly this aspect. So is there anything you want to add while people just gather their thoughts on that?
I was just going to mention that there has been some guidance that's been released relatively recently, I want to say, about designated supervisor requirements and changes to these. So I'll post a link into the chat, but it's definitely worth a read because some things have changed where individuals can be a designated supervisor for more than one trainee, and there's no longer the requirement for a DS to have a minimum of 28 hours over 4 days with the trainee pharmacist. So there have been some changes. So if you're not aware of those, it's worth having a look at that document because that might increase some flexibility in terms of which sort of training programs you agree to, and you can perhaps do a multi-sector placement with another site because you now have the flexibility of having more than one trainee.
Brill, thanks, Dee. And that kind of brings me on to the next slide as well, preempting what you were going to say, to be fair, was just around, I did again send an email out to all our contractors on more than one occasion, and we had a great opportunity to allow contractors to potentially partner with LPT and UHL to support their foundation pharmacists in 2025, 2026 with a cross-sector placement. We gained quite a lot of interest from our contractors, which was lovely. And as a result, we've been able to, through collaborative working, and we've never done this before as well, organised a placement, a cross-sector placement with which each of those contractors that expressed interest. So I'm not going to give you the details of each of those contractors, but I just thought it'd be worth sharing. So there were 8 places within UHL that were available, and all 8 have been taken up, and there were 2 within LPT, and they've also been taken up as well. But every single contractor that expressed interest was able to be allocated a cross-sector placement. So the cross-sector placement is a 3-month block placement with induction days, and that will also give their foundation pharmacist the opportunity to attain their to achieve their DPP requirement as well. And this is a non-reciprocal placement that's been organised as well. And nothing like this has been done before in previous years. So it's great that we've been able to support our contractors, because I know through last month's open house surgery, DPP did come up, didn't it, Dee, in terms of some concerns around how do we fulfil that criteria when we've never, we don't know where to go for that, and feeling a bit lost. So at the back of that, we've managed to partner some of our contractors, VHL and LPT. So great result there as well. So I thought that'd be worth sharing. I haven't seen any hands up or any questions for these, so I'm just going to leave it there. I just wonder if anybody does have any specific questions around the foundation pharmacist training or the oral deadline on the 1st of March. I'm assuming then that you're all confident to complete that, and either that or you're not affected by it. But I'll just leave it there for a minute and pause and see if you guys have any questions or comments.
What I will do is I'll put my email address in the chat. So if any questions do come to you later, then by all means get in touch. If you want, at the sort of open house surgery meeting last week and you're wondering what we're talking about, in a nutshell, foundation training is changing, which is previously known as pre-reg. And from 2025-26, all places, all trainees must be recruited through the National Recruitment Scheme, which is Oriel. So you wouldn't be able to advertise a vacancy. It would need to come through this one single mechanism. And the deadline for putting that program up so that we can advertise it to trainees is the 1st of March this year. So it's planning for a training that starts in 2025, but it does mean that something needs to be done right now. So if you want any further details on what that looks like or what that is, or any questions, I'll pop my email address in the chat. Feel free to get in touch. I will hang around for like 10-15 more minutes. I do need to get out a little bit earlier than the finish time. So if anything pops up before then, feel free to pop in the chat.
Thanks, Ina. So yeah, I haven't seen anything come in the chat, so I'll assume no one has any comments, but thank you. And again, if anybody wants to raise their hand, feel free. So I'll just pause there and see if anybody does. If not, we'll carry on in the next minute or so. Go through and make sure no one's got their hand up. Okay, well, I can't see anybody with their hands up or anything in the chat happening. So I'm going to push on if that's okay. And if something crops up, we can try and come back to it if need. Oh, sorry, Rajini's got his hand up. Rajini, do you want to come in? We can't hear you, Rajini. I don't know if you're on mute.
Can we have the email for Zainab?
For Zinat, it's in the chat. Her email address is in the chat.
Okay, I thought it was on the screen. Okay.
It's in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so moving on then. I'm going to talk a little bit about pharmacy first and then hand over to, actually, I think I'm going to hand over straight away to Gareth, to be honest. Actually, before I do, I just want to let you know, again, we'll pop this in the chat. There's a plethora of resources and information on Pharmacy First, which I'm hoping you're all familiar with or seen, which Gareth will obviously go through as well in a lot more detail. We'll pop the link in the chat as well. But if you're not sure where to download the service specification or look for briefing documents for your team, it's all available on our website. There's a wealth of information on there, not just for pharmacy teams or pharmacists and contractors. There's also a dedicated section on our website for pharmacy practice as well. I'm not going to take the thunder away from Gareth, because I know Gareth will be talking about this shortly. So I'm going to hand over to Gareth, if that's okay. Gareth, can I pass on to you? If that's
So I'm hoping pharmacists watching this will have realised that this is a presentation that the Pharmacy Committee has produced to help communicate Pharmacy First to reception teams. So promoting the service and getting referrals right is an absolutely crucial part of the service. And I felt that it would be useful just to share this short presentation with you. There were some useful resources in there. I'm sure you've seen the CPCS referral guide before, and you've noticed that it was highlighted there. It's important to just reflect and prepare when you go and see the receptionist. They talk about 7 new conditions. Well, all of those conditions were already listed in the CPCS. So sore throat was on there, nasal congestion was on there, skin rashes and blisters were on there, insect bites were on there. So everything was already on there. And what we're trying to do is say to receptionists, look, refer for an insect bite or sting. Don't worry about trying to determine if it's infected or not. You can refer for a bite or a sting and just let the pharmacist worry about whether or not it's infected. So it's the same with sore throat, refer a sore throat and don't be worrying about deciding if there's tonsillitis, let the pharmacist get on with that. So that would simplify things, but the NHS did promote, or they did produce that slide with the 7 conditions. I'm not too sure how helpful it has been, but nevertheless it's there. And what we shared earlier in this presentation is an edited version, and you heard what I said to receptionists. If they do use it, try and stick to the simple Try and refer to the simple symptom terminology that's in it and avoid using the diagnostic terminology. All of those resources will be on the website. Some of them are already on there. We've got a few more edits to make. You should be able to download those resources, and strongly recommend that you, as a priority, arrange to go and see the reception team manager. Forget about doctors. You don't need to go and see doctors. Arrange to see the reception team manager, not just the first receptionist that you meet. That will be a waste of time. Ask to speak to the reception team manager. And when you're there, have a look over the shoulder and count how many reception team workstations there are. So if there's 5 reception workstations, bring 5 copies of those documents, perhaps laminate them somehow mysteriously. If you laminate them, it adds extra value and they seem to hang on to them and pin them up. So if there's 5 workstations, hand over 5 laminated copies, and lo and behold, they will magically be posted up. So that's what we're trying to do there in terms of promotion. Just thinking of supporting pharmacists themselves engage with Pharmacy First. And the very first thing that I would strongly recommend every single pharmacist who still has a bit of work to do in this is to watch the Pharm Outcomes training video for pharmacists. If you go into your Pharm Outcomes homepage, you've got the services page, the services tab, but if you go across to the extreme right-hand side, there is a help tab in the Pharm Outcomes homepage. Click that help tab, and then you'll have a drop-down box. It'll mention Pharmacy First, and then click again Pharmacy First resources, and you'll see there are about 5 links to PDFs there, very helpful PDFs, and there are 2 video thumbnails. Watch the first one. The first one is absolutely marvelous. It shows you the extent of the support that Pharm Outcomes provides. And if you're not using Pharm Outcomes, if you're using HX Consult or something else, still watch that Pharm Outcomes video, because the support that the software will be providing is based on the same algorithms. So I'm done. I'm just going to hand over now to anyone who wants to come back to me on any of those points, and I'm available Fridays.
Thank you, Gareth. There was one question in the chat: where is the referral rejection data taken from? And that's from D.
Where is the
Where is the referral rejection data taken from? The one in your presentation.
That was a slide that came from the centre. Paul, do you know where that slide actually originated from?
I think it's from Community Pharmacy England, and I believe it's based on the evaluation data from the pilot, I think, but it broadly reflects the same data we've got for LLR as well. So I would say it's definitely still accurate.
Thank you. Yeah, so if there's any questions from anyone on the call on today's webinar, feel free to either raise your hand. We've got Paul Gilbert, we've got Gareth with us, and Paul's just raised his hand. I'll come to Paul in a minute. But if you feel that you can add the question in the chat as well. Paul, should I come to you?
Yeah, I have some data to share. Very hot off the press. So hot it's burning. So I don't know if I think I think I'll open it up if anyone's got any questions or chat questions they want to ask, and then I've got a short presentation that I can put on screen around current performance, so you can see how we're going. So I'll shut up for a minute, see if anyone wants to come in and ask any questions, and if not, then I can just share that.
Thank you, Paul. If you haven't got any questions, it'd be interesting to find out for me and Gareth and the team and Paul, how are you getting on with Pharmacy First as well? It doesn't have to be a question, like I said at the start. Really want to hear from you guys who are, have the ear to the ground, that are actually delivering this. How are you finding it? Crinal, do you want to come in?
Yeah, so this new service it's going well at the moment, but mainly we are doing it based on the self-referral in our area. There must be I wanted to tell Gareth as well, can you make a short presentation on actual referral process from system 1, because quite a few receptionists, they are always getting the new receptionist, and they don't have this training on. So sometimes, even though they want to refer, they don't know how to refer. So that would be quite beneficial for us to show them how to actually do the referral, so they can start step-by-step guide. That is one of the point what I found from my talk to the receptionist with the surrounding surgeries. So that one point. In terms of the Pharmacy First, yes, a lot of people are aware that we are providing it. A lot of people are forthcoming as well. Quite a few just OTC meds not even getting through the gateway point. But yes, the response is quite positive, and we all are quite doing much more clinical work, so we are quite excited as well.
So I just come in there, Crinal, thank you. There is resources already on the LPC website doing that will support practice reception teams doing exactly as you were inquiring about. If you go into the CPCS resource, so make sure when you're going onto the website, type in Community Pharmacy Leicestershire and Rutland. If you start half typing that, it will take you to the NHS England website. Sorry, not NHS, it'll take you to Community Pharmacy England. So be very careful when you're on the website that it says Community Pharmacy Leicestershire and Rutland, because the colour scheme of both websites are the same, obviously. But when you're in the Community Pharmacy Leicestershire and Rutland website, go into the National Services, CPCS, and you will see there is support for surgeries in there. There's a video, and it will take receptions through exactly what they need to do to engage with the CPCS. And that email that I put in the last slide, melanie.burdett, if the reception teams are needing the license number for their, because every practice has been given a license, so to download it and install it, if they can't find that, it was sent out last May, I think, but Melanie Burdett will be able to support them with starting fresh.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome, sir.
That link is in the chat as well for you for now. Paul, did you just want to come in because you popped something in the chat as well?
Yeah, so the triaging element of pharmafer hasn't been updated for the new conditions yet. So if the reception team works through the triaging option, it won't correctly. It would say that it's not suitable for pharmacy first. And now it's been updated for EMIS local. That came through, I believe, today. So I think pharmafer update is imminent. I think once that's updated, potentially, I think we can potentially record perhaps the joint. Record a video with joining up both elements, because the pharmafer hopefully will update their video, but if it doesn't quite link into the system one element that lots of practices use it at in LLR. So I think you're right, Connell, to say that there is potential that's potentially would be worthwhile doing. So I think we'll look at that when the pharmafer has been updated.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, if there's any comments around Pharmacy First or any questions, put them in the chat. Paul, do you want to go through I'm intrigued to find out about what's going on with the numbers.
Okay. So look, bring up my presentation. Okay, so just to give you an idea of sign-ups, so depending on what figure you use, I use 224. That might be debatable for contractors at LLR. But anyway, based on that number, there's 216 signed up as of the evening before Pharmacy First. I haven't looked since then, to be honest, which is 96%, which is far higher than I think anyone in the ICB anticipated. So thank you very much. And that's a great credit to people within pharmacy in LLR. I think that's fair to say. So I think it's fair to say that virtually everybody does it. Most of those people that don't do it are DSPs. Right, okay, this is what we're going to know. This is hot off the press. It's based on a data set of farm refer platforms that we've managed to find. So it only includes farm refer referrals. It doesn't include NHS.net referrals. So if you're working in Northwest Leicestershire in particular, or near Forest House or Kingsway practices, that doesn't include them, which is not an insignificant number of referrals. Okay, so there are 93 referrals to Pharmacy First on the 31st of January, and there since so far up to the 16th of February, the 1,749 referrals by a pharma for Pharmacy First. It's not just the 7 clinical pathways, that's the minor illness part as well. Some GP practice doesn't include NHS 111, and it doesn't include NHS 111 urgent repeat prescriptions either. Okay, so I just tried to benchmark that very quickly against to see some growth. So in the first 16 days of January, and I didn't add up the number of working days, but it's just to so please don't think it's hugely scientific, but just a reflection. 911 pharmacy or CPCS referrals by pharma refer in the first 16 days of January, and I had a quick look at the extended care data, which I estimated would be equivalent to 234 extended care provisions based on extended care referrals in December, and the average number of referrals per day in December, again not adjusted for number of days, but to give a fair reflection. So it's compared 1,749 referrals against 1,145 referrals for the equivalent period in January. So I think that shows significant growth in referrals to pharmacy that has been driven by Pharmacy First. Right, so 77 GP practices referred by a pharma refer. This compares to 51 the first 16 days of January. I'll be honest, one of those practices was a test referral, and they only said one, about 76. But even so we have Pharmacy First has ignited a conversation with lots of practices that A, didn't want to refer, and B, referred via NHS.net to switch over to Pharma Refer, which I think is really positive to do. And then on the receiving end, those referrals, 132 community pharmacists have been on the receiving end of a Pharma Refer referral for Pharmacy First in February. So the first 16 days of February compared to 83 in the first 16 days of January. So it's broadening out as well. But at least there are some little gaps in some areas, and some pharmacies aren't showing a huge amount of referrals, to be honest. So I think we do need to tackle some of those. But just to give you an idea that this service has absolutely, as far as we can tell, driven growth into of service delivery into community pharmacy. I think all those patients that have been helped, I think isn't that great. So that's just where we are. A couple of other things I just wanted to perhaps mention, and Gareth has definitely covered this in his video. We are absolutely driving why formal referrals are required. I think there might be more work to do about this, to be quite honest. There are some practices perhaps still not bought on, despite seeing that growth anecdotally, or why do I have to refer? So I think that's an ongoing message that certainly myself and other people in the ICB will continue to drive. I think for lots of different reasons. These are what I share with the practices, particularly, same as really what Gareth spoke about. But obviously for yourselves, it's quite the referrals. It's important because if they don't reach the gateway point, they still count as a minor illness referral for the most part. In truth, so that's not the only reason, and Tony, it's not a reason I particularly say to practices. But we are absolutely still driving that message, and we will continue to drive that message. Notifications back, the GP Connect update, we're anticipating by the end of the month. There are 8 more days left for them to deliver that, but we're still told that is still the plan, which hopefully will ease the burden administratively from the feedback process for GP practices, which have had some anecdotal reports that some practices are a little bit about. But I think, in all honesty, I could have predicted some of the practices that would send me an email about their dissatisfaction with the pharmacy first service, and that my predictions would have been entirely right. And some people just don't want to be happy, to be truthful. But I'm trying to manage that, and where genuine issues have been raised, obviously we will follow those up. But my key message there is always to talk to each other. I've just put these on the slides on here just in case you haven't seen these. These have been widely circulated, but around 111. So 111, you should escalate back to 111 by ringing *7. Don't tell a patient to ring 111 back, because 111 don't like that, and that's outside the service spec. But they don't like it, and then I have to follow you up. So that's the instructions there on the screen for ringing *7. It is, you have to put the numbers in the right place, to be honest. But that's if you could try to if you do get a 111 minor illness referral that needs clinical escalation, escalate it back via *7 if you can, please. So what have we asked GP practice to do? So we've asked them to activate their pharma line or to verify the email address, so that it is unclear when GP Connect goes live whether that will be necessary or not. We didn't think it would, then we thought it might be. We still don't really know. So it is all quite fast moving at the moment. We've asked them to attend active signposting. I'm going to speak to Market Harborough and Husbands Bottlers PPN tomorrow on that very subject. Gareth has done a sterling job, as have other LPC colleagues around that process. We should continue to do so around active signposting as an option. And the most important message is that we ask people to speak to you and to turn up and come and see you, invite you in, and to brief their colleagues on the service. That is a key message. And generally, my responses to most emails are, have you actually spoken to the local provider to iron these things out? Most things can be ironed out if you talk to each other. So what would you like yourselves to do? I think a lot of it goes without saying, but please do try to perform a service to a high quality standard. So make sure your consultation room is fit for purpose, got the correct equipment, and record keeping is a high standard. Some comments, and I think some of this does relate to pharma outcomes and their sort of how they develop the post-event message from what's entered. But if you can make sure that what you put in the boxes is correct, there's the right level of detail. I might look at going forward about giving some guidance about what the right level of detail might be. But I've had one email that said they got too much, and one person said didn't get enough. So perhaps we are getting it right. It all balances out. Right, if you're not offering all the clinical pathways all the time in your pharmacy, I'd really like you to have a think about what you need to do to move into that position. At the moment, we just, accept that, to be quite honest, there will be gaps in availability. If you do get a referral when a service isn't available, please brief your teams on how to pass a referral on to another pharmacy. It's really important we keep the service within pharmacy rather than losing that patient back to general practice. That's a win for everybody. It might be your competitor up the road who you perhaps don't always see eye to eye to, but in truth, a rising tide will raise all boats, right? And so if you keep that referral in pharmacy, try to do that. Do speak to your locums about it as part of that. do continue to report IT teething issues. There are quite a few around, and we hopefully are resolving most of them. Please flag practices are signposting and not referring. I don't have a magic wand. I wish I did, but please do flag those to me. If you get inappropriate 111 referrals, again, flag those as well. And there's a form you can fill in to send back to 111, and they'll investigate it. So don't feel it is all one way. Speak to local practices and keep your DOS up to date. And you can do that by these slides shared. And there's a locum webinar. So if you would like any of the locums, or you know any locums, or you're on any locum social media platforms, please share details of our Midlands locum webinar on Thursday, the 29th of February, to try and engage more of our locum colleagues. Unbelievably, we've got over 450 signed up for this, which is quite positive. But we're always up for more. You can scan the QR code that will take you to MS Forms, and the links. I've put the link on the slides as well. That's the agenda there. So do please share this with your regular locum colleagues who perhaps a bit unsure of the service, because we really do. We all need those to engage. Just a bit of a final update around the next steps of the digital elements. It's all really around embedding it directly into GP workflow and the post-event messages. This is really important to practices. Should make your lives easier as well. Hopefully will prevent the need for practices to register an email address with in-farm outcomes, although that is to be confirmed. But that's just to give you an update. We are anticipating that by the 29th of February. And then further update is the standard side I share, generally signs to LPC resources, because it is such a valuable web page, and again, everything you need on there. If you do particular issues around practice, perhaps struggling, needs some support, if you do let me or Mel know, we're happy to try and pick that up and engage with them, as well as part of our broader piece around sort of raising the profile of pharmacy in the service. And I'll be honest, I don't believe there's a GP partner or a practice manager or a PCM manager out there who does not know about Pharmacy First. And if you do, point them in my direction, and I will give them all the information that they need. But we've done extensive engagement. But yeah, happy for any suggestions or anything you'd like me to do, or any feedback. Absolutely welcome. I probably can share. I've not been told I can't share where it's happening, so therefore, if you've got particular questions around where Pharmacy First referrals are happening, I can look at that data set I've got, and I can quite happily tell you if you want to know.
Brilliant. Thank you, Paul. It's been really helpful just to run through that as well. So if there are any questions or any comments, feel free to pick up your hand, or anything that we discussed as well on Pharmacy First. If you can raise your hand or add it into the chat, that'd be great. Very quiet tonight, I've got to say. Gareth, do you want to come back in?
Yes, please. I just wanted to make sure, because the video that we played just it jumped in without me getting a chance to introduce it. So just for contractors to appreciate that video, if you like, it's a PowerPoint presentation with embedded narration. So it's a PowerPoint with embedded narration. If you download that onto your a tablet or a laptop, you can simply take that around to the surgery, to the reception team manager or whatever, or invite them into the pharmacy, which is better still. Invite them to the pharmacy, give them a coffee, take them into the consultation room, let them see your pharma outcomes, let them see where the referrals arrive, and then play that video, that PowerPoint presentation, and make sure they're up to speed and fully understanding the importance of doing the referrals electronically. Anyway, that's the thing. I'll leave that with you.
Thank you, Gareth. So it's 2 minutes past 9. So feel free, if you want to stay on and ask questions. I'll stay behind with Gareth for a short while, and Paul, feel free if you have to go, that's fine. But I've not seen any chats at all. So are there any questions or any hands raised, so feel free, you can pop off. But thank you ever so much for joining us tonight. It is recorded, and it will be Kate will get this added onto our website shortly, hopefully by the end of the week, and we'll circulate the link thereafter as well. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Thanks for attending, everyone.
Paul, what presentation are you taking to?
Thanks, Alta. Thank you.
I could hear in and out when I was coming on.
It's
Oh,
virtually
right.
tomorrow, Gareth. It's virtually yours,